Hi, everyone. This is Shreen Purewal and the wonderful.
Fraser Blanchflower.
He is one of our already top realtors, and he just passed his real estate license. And well done on doing a over $4 million deal already in Vancouver. So impressive. But you're phenomenal. I love your skills, how thorough you are, how detail oriented you are. But I know it was a journey to get here. So I want you to tell all those out there who are looking to write their real estate license in BC what you had to go through and what were some things you were disappointed by or you didn't expect, just to give everyone a heads up who's looking to write their real estate license. So over to you, Fraser.
Sure. Well, thank you again for that. And I wouldn't be able to have done it without your push and encouragement and support and guidance.
I'm impressed with you regardless. Okay, so tell
Um,
us more.
it was, you're the one who pushed me to start the real estate license. I just moved to Vancouver last year, had never considered real estate as a career path, despite my background being in business and in law. So when I started doing it just as sort of something to fill my time, it was a lot of information, but it all made sense to me. And then I also used GoBC, which helped a lot because doing
Okay,
it
wait,
straight.
hold on. So if I want to sign up for the real estate course, what are the platforms? I know there's GoBC, and
Yeah.
what's the other one?
So you have to sign up through UBC. That's like a requirement.
Okay, so
And
you
then,
definitely have to do the UBC course,
yeah,
but then you signed up for this other one too.
yeah. So I signed up for GoBC because it's essentially a Cliff Note version, more condensed, easy to digest information of the UBC course. So UBC, they give you a textbook this big. I would say their platform and their classes and the questions and modules were a bit dated. So GoBC was very interactive, super helpful, really sort of cut the fat of the UBC course and condensed it all into bite-sized chunks.
That's
Um,
helpful. And I heard like they guarantee a passing rate. So like lots of those who do it through UBC fail the first time. Whereas I heard with GoBC, they don't even let you write the exam until they know you're ready, which is
exactly,
nice, saves you money.
exactly. And the UBC, I think it's supposed to be a year-long course, but GoBC is 4 months. So you're
Wow.
cutting the time down. I mean, I was, I guess, fortunate enough that I wasn't working full time, so I could really commit myself to GoBC and just take in as much information and complete it in as little time as I could.
So you
Uh,
took the 4 months?
so I actually did it in 3 months. I just
Wow.
wanted to get it over and done with as quickly as possible.
Impressive.
Um, and so you pay the UBC fees to sign up for this course. And then GoBC, because it is essentially another provider, you pay the GoBC fees. I forget what exactly they were. I want to say they were around $800 for this 4 month condensed UBC version.
How much?
Uh,
So you paid 800 to GoBC and you paid it probably another, I think like 1,800 to the other one.
exactly.
So all in all, 2,800 for writing the course.
I would say so, because then you also have to pay for your exam, which is $125.
Okay.
So yeah, I would say it was a sizable investment, but I was also conscious that it's a very quick return on investment.
Very
Um,
like one deal pays it off,
exactly. Um,
essentially.
so did the GoBC, found it super helpful. Um, but you also still, just because I was doing GoBC, you still have to complete all the quizzes and all the assignments in
Mhm.
UBC. But it just made it that much easier to complete because I was very knowledgeable from GoBC.
Okay.
Um, so then after doing, as you said, after completing all the modules, after completing all the midterm exams, then they start unlocking mock exams and other modules when you're really prepared and once you start getting above a certain grade on those mock exams. Um, And I mean, a lot of it is subject to your own learning style and how you want to study, whether you want to go over the chapters, the modules, or just do exam after exam after exam. So once I started hitting the above 85% on those mock exams, I felt pretty confident to do it. And I was also just conscious that UBC books out their exam sort of a month away. So I was conscious of that too. I didn't want my GoBC date or registration to finish, and then I had to wait another month to write my exam. I didn't want to lose that information while it was still fresh.
You were like, you aligned it all perfectly.
Exactly.
Excellent.
And then just me being me, I registered for the computerized exam. I didn't want to register for the handwritten provincial exam.
Because then you get your answers apparently quicker back too. So it's like the next thing you find out.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I wrote the exam, and it's a 3-hour exam, or they say it's a 3-hour exam. I finished it in an hour and a half.
What? Wow. Because the danger I found when I did the exam is when you go back, you start second guessing yourself.
Exactly.
And that's dangerous.
Yeah.
So once you wrote it, do it once, do it right, and walk away.
Exactly. And that was the thing. That's why I did GoBC too. I just wanted to get it one and done. Just finish it, complete it, didn't have to worry about it, because if you fail your exam, you have to wait 3 months until you can register for an exam again. So
that's good to know.
To delay that process anymore. So wrote the exam, felt confident again because it was the computerized exam. I found out the next day, passed, obviously was extremely happy and satisfied. But then
reality, tell people about the reality of like, oh, I'm done my course. No, I'm not, because I hear from everyone there's like all these other courses after the fact.
Exactly. So I would say, back to your question, in terms of things that took me by surprise, was that it wasn't just as simple as writing your exam and getting your license. You join a brokerage and then you start selling or buying places. There was a lot more work that had to be put into it, and a lot more cost as well. So after I completed the exam, I didn't really mess around with interviewing other brokerages, because obviously I had the connection with you and you introduced me to EXP. So it was sort of a straight in for me.
And the beauty of EXP was that everything's just cloud-based. So it was like quick.
Exactly. And lower overhead costs. You're not paying the desk fees. You're not paying sort of those high fees that other brokerages technically charge. They charge a premium for a reason. They cover your conveyancing, they cover your marketing. They cover a lot of other costs, but it's sort of depending on what type of person you are, how long you've been in the industry. It depends on what brokerage aligns with you. But again, I didn't want to waste any time. I just wanted to join a brokerage, and worst came to worst, if I didn't enjoy EXP, then
exactly,
I knew that I could just
else.
Which I also just found, in terms of just knowledge base, it's $250 for BCFS, that BCFSA will charge you to change brokerage.
That's minimal. It's a minimal fee in the grand scheme of things, right?
Exactly. So got on a call with the managing broker of EXP in Vancouver. He walked me through sort of what EXP is like, their whole cost breakdown, emphasized or highlighted sort of the main features of EXP in terms of a US based company. You get shares if you have agent attraction, or a sponsee or sponsor, you can get sort of paid that way. So in terms of the actual cost breakdown, it really incentivized me, because it's, again, a lower overhead cost, and there's a lot more incentives and a lot more other ways.
And I want you to speak to one thing. One of the things that kind of deterred me in the beginning from joining EXP, and I'll be open and honest with everyone, was the whole, it's a cult. Do you feel that? Like, once I joined, I was like, man, what were people talking about? It's nothing like that. If anything, they're probably threatened by it, is what I'm seeing, is why they're calling that. It's so conveniently easy.
Yeah. No, exactly that. And I would say the downside to it, or at least that I've felt,
and we got to be honest,
being a brand new agent in a new city, trying to establish myself and navigate a new industry and career, was it the smartest move to join a virtual brokerage without a physical office and agents that I could interact with and see how they talk with their clients and have someone to shadow? Maybe not. but because of its cloud-based and its virtualness, it made it that much easier to connect with other agents. So then I could easily tag along to open houses and meet other mentors like yourself. So yeah, it again all depends on the preferences of the person and their learning style, whether or not they want to join a team, whether they want to do it as a single agent, as a lone agent. That's all subject to the person. But getting back to sort of the whole process, after completing the exam, you then have to do a criminal record check, which is standard. Then you have to sign up for BCFSA. So once you know that you've passed the exam, they give you confirmation. You then enroll with BCFSA, which is the regulatory body, the BC Financial Services Authority. And then you sign up for their applied course. So it's essentially 4.5 to 6 months of field assignments. On top of other virtual workshops, which is essentially a recap of the learnings that you've just done through UBC.
So all in all, after writing the exam, how many more hours of courses did you have to take? How many days?
It was another, so they split it up into components. So after I enrolled with BCFSA, again, why I wanted to just start a brokerage and get this ball rolling is I knew that BCFSA also booked about a month and a half out for when I could start their applied courses, which you need to do. So even though I finished and passed my exam in, I believe it was November
of 2023,
2022.
Okay.
I didn't start the BCFSA applied courses until February.
Whoa, of 2023.
Yeah. So you're sort of sitting around waiting, sort of, what do I do? I can't, you can join a brokerage, but you can't do anything because you haven't started the BCFSA courses.
Right.
So, and you also couldn't start every brokerage, I'm not sure what the other brokerages are, but with EXP, they have their own new agent onboarding and courses and requirements that you have to take. So that was another thing. It was sort of the added costs of this BCFSA course. It was the added costs of signing up and enrolling for a brokerage. It was the added time of now having to do these BCFSA courses, which component 1 and 2 are virtual classrooms. So it's around 2 days, 3 days of in-person or virtual discussions. They put you into breakout rooms. You meet with other agents who have recently completed and passed their exams. And then you're doing your brokerages, onboarding, and courses as well.
That's a lot. For us, we just wrote the exam back like over 10 years ago, write the exam, and then join a brokerage, and we started selling.
Yeah, no, it's not the same. And obviously it's understandable too. I think nowadays
there's more,
they're trying to make it as clean culture and clean career as possible. They want to try and sort of wean off any bad or negligent or corrupt agents. So it does make the process that much more arduous and time and cost intensive. But the agents who are willing to put in the work and put in the time and who are actually committed to doing it, those are the ones that will pass and succeed. So did the first 2 components of BCFSA in February. So I completed that. I want to say that was from February to April.
Right.
And then you start your 4.5 months of field assignments. So they have about 6 different requirements that you have to do, like make a listing, sell a property,
write an offer,
run an open house. So then once you've completed all of those, and you essentially have to write a write-up saying what, and they ask a whole bunch of questions, what your experience was like. If you were unable to complete those requirements, and I was unable to complete one of those, I still haven't done a listing myself. Like I haven't sold a property myself. So then they suggest that you talk to a managing broker or a mentor, which I talked to you, of what that step would be of selling a property. So meeting with the client, signing the right documents, doing a listing presentation, all that sort of stuff, and going through the whole staging, open houses, all that. So actually I only this month, August, was when I completed the BCFSA applied practice course.
So you're
So
now fully licensed.
fully licensed. So
Wonderful.
despite, but even during those 6 months of the BCFSA course, you can still practice. Like you can still meet with clients. Obviously, you can, as I did, met a client and I've now sold a property or bought him a property. But it is time intensive. If I look back on it, having started my studying for the UBC exam
Mm,
of January 2022, and I'm now only just got my full license in
your
August.
first deal. So what, sorry, my reminders are going off there. What would you say would be for someone who's like, you've got cost of living, you've got bills. How many months would you say on average, like plan an income stream for this many months until you feel they can have money coming in through the real estate? I usually tell people at least, 7 months before when you join, before you start seeing money come in.
I was gonna say 8 months. Because I was also for last year, I was away for half of it. I did my own travel. As you know, I got stuck in Dubai with a marketing branding opportunity. So that took away from my studying. So if I were to actually break it down of how many consecutive months that I was full-time studying and was not earning any income, it would be, I would say, conservatively 8 months.
Oh,
Um,
that's
again,
that's
the
helpful.
privilege,
Again, these are all things that we and I myself, I like to go to YouTube to see what other people's experiences are, because I was like, oh my God, no one told me that. That's an
yeah,
actually really important thing for me to know. So if there's anything right now, anything else you feel that no one told you, you wish you knew, that you want to share with others out there, please let us know. Like also, the other thing is the BCFSA course. One thing that, I mean, no one told me when I wrote that exam was, how do I write an offer? And that's one
mhm.
of the first things I worked on. I'm like, you did all this course. I bet you don't know how to write an offer. And
And
lo
that's
and
the thing.
behold,
They
it's
call it
like,
an applied course, but it's all hypotheticals. You're in a breakout room with other brand new agents who also don't know what they're doing. So of course no one knows how to write an offer. And also that's just the way that I learn. I'm much more hands-on. I have to be in the moment,
like
writing
you
the
a
offer.
mock like situation. So
Yeah.
I love that one of the things and this is with everyone, like anyone who's out there, if you're going to another brokerage, the first thing, or if you want to join our team, the first thing you work on is, let's you pretend to be my buyer. I want to write you an offer. How
Yeah.
does the whole offer process work? How do I get the deposit? Like, let's go through each step like it's live, because I don't want to practice on a live client and look like a dummy who's trying
Yeah.
to figure it all out. Like with you, you
Yeah.
were a pro and you closed your first deal was a over $4 million deal, because at that point you're like, listen, I've done so many practice offers. I got this,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Which was amazing.
Exactly. And without any hand holding. Sure, a lot of it was also learning as I go, which would made it that much more
Oh,
stressful.
it was incredible.
But had to sort of like check my composure and make sure that I was still providing the same value and professionalism as I would if I was a completely experienced, seasoned agent.
And the other thing that they don't tell you, and depending on what brokerage you go to, but the beauty of our brokerage is they're very thorough with onboarding, is if you're becoming a new agent, you do need a GST number.
Yeah.
You got your GST number, right? With CRA?
Yeah.
Excellent. So it's like that's one thing I didn't even get when I remember. I'm always trying to remember when I started off. I didn't get one till like 8, 9 months in, and I'd done 2 deals, and I was like, oh, okay, what's the GST number all about? So make sure also when you do join your brokerage, you call CRA and you get a GST number in your personal name for your real estate.
Exactly. And yeah, back to it, whether it was maybe my own ignorance, or lack of research, or just poor communication. But from the feedback in the applied courses, I also heard that the same sort of sentiment that I was feeling of where was all of this information? Why was there not this sort of breakdown of what are all the steps that you have to take, how much all the things are going to cost? Like it was sort of it definitely tested my patience and perseverance too of, oh, this is another cost that I have to take, this is another course that I have to study for, this is another
Yeah, I'm
Setback
surprised that they
after
never told me about.
obstacle after obstacle. And I mean, it definitely, I think the stats is most new agents within the first year or 2 years are likely to drop out. I think it's an 85% fail rate, which again, I'm not surprised by because you're out of income if you're really diligent and focusing straight on
Got
this, which
pressure,
is,
life pressures, and you're not making money. So you got to set those expectations. But the beauty
that
is, like, if you align with someone like yourself or me, these are things that we've learned from, and we don't want you to make those mistakes. So, I mean, I know you're in Vancouver, you would love to help anyone out if
exactly,
they had any questions. So we'll definitely put your information down here in this
please.
video, so they can reach out to you. And it's always good to help people. I'm so thankful to all those who helped me when I was starting off, and I'll never ever forget some of those seasoned agents who taught me the do's and don'ts of the
Yeah.
business.
I
And
think one thing back to your question as well of any surprises,
yeah, please.
not to dwell on sort of, I talked on the things that took me by surprise negatively. The thing that took me by surprise positively was I came into this career thinking that it was a very dog eat dog world. Like agents shouldn't network with each other. Agents don't want to work with each other because if you do, you're stealing their clients, you're stealing their money, their commission, whatnot. That was one thing that I was pleasantly surprised by, was the effectiveness and the necessity to network and build relationships with other agents. Obviously, you're wanting to prospect and generate leads for clients, but it's, I would say, equally as important to do the same for other agents. Because I mean, depending on the person, but the people that I've met and attracted are very like-minded and share the same values. Everyone just wants to help everyone succeed.
Mhm.
Like I'm helping a guy with his open houses in Surrey and the Delta area, but that's not necessarily my preference as to where I want to be working out of, but it's a huge wealth of knowledge to be able to work with him and to get his knowledge and experience and for him to share that with me. And then he's also gaining sort of the benefit of having me run his open houses so that he can be on the road with other clients or closing other deals. So to really build those networks and connections with other agents, I found was really
Excellent
valuable.
tip. Excellent
Yeah.
tip. And I love also the what I love about you that's helped you incredibly is you've never said no to anything. You said, I'll look into that. I'll look
Yeah.
into that. I'll look into that.
That
And
was
it's
those were the two things, was never say no and do this full time. Like you can't do this half-ass. There was so many times where I was tempted to even just get a serving job just to help me in terms of income or try and work part-time. Um, but now I definitely realize if I had not done that, I wouldn't have been fully focused and fully committed to doing this. It would have taken away from being able to generate leads,
deliver at such a scale.
deliver. If I'm part-time working and I have a client trying to answer his questions 5 hours later, it's not professional. It's not, you're not committed to it. And you're always going to be sort of halfway, 1 foot out, 1 foot in. And I am sort of just dive into the deep end and you get the best results.
You're incredible. You've inspired me. You've taught me a lot. And that's why I really call all those people out there who are watching this video to reach out to you, because I love that new tool you've taught me, even all these
Yep.
cool like real estate apps that you're using. So thank you, Fraser. It's been such an honor. Yes, I've helped you, but you've helped me, if not as much and more. So I appreciate you. And thanks for sharing your knowledge and experience with all those out there. So, Fraser,
Just happy to help. Just a call away.
good karma your way, my dear. Thanks a lot.
Exactly.
Okay.
Bigger, better
Yes.
things. Thanks, Shireen.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.